The Lakers may have dropped their second game of the preseason, but if you're only focused on the scoreboard, you're missing the bigger picture. This wasn't about wins or losses. It was about flashes of potential, building chemistry, and getting a closer look at players who could shape the season in ways fans might not expect. And if there's one name that's got everyone talking right now, it's Jarred Vanderbilt. The energy, the hustle, the defensive intensity, it was all there. But even more intriguing, the offensive spark he showed that could take his game and the Lakers' rotation to another level. Vondo came out aggressive, setting the tone from the jump. He wasn't just running around trying to fill lanes or overplaying screens. He was measured, he was engaged, and he looked healthy, maybe healthier than we've seen in a while. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. That's not just a stat line, that's impact. That's presence. He hit a corner three, and not one of those please don't shoot a one in type of threes. No, it was a clean, confident stroke. He attempted 3 from deep, and whether or not every shot fell, the bigger point is that he took them without hesitation. And that confidence matters a lot. But let's be real. The biggest question with Vondo isn't about his three-point shot. It's whether he can become reliable finishing around the rim. Because if he's not spacing the floor and he's also struggling to score inside, it limits his value offensively. That's where things got interesting in this game. He had a pair of tough, controlled finishes through contact, something we haven't seen consistently from him in a Lakers jersey. One of those even turned into an N1. These were not your average, wide-open layups. They were physical, balanced, and smart. If Vondo can consistently convert in traffic and finish plays that aren't just breakaway dunks or dump-offs, he becomes more than just a defensive specialist. He becomes a guy you can actually trust to play real minutes in high-stakes games. It's clear the coaching staff is watching closely. The conversation around whether Vanderbilt could potentially start isn't just fan chatter. It's real. When asked about it, JJ didn't commit, but he didn't shut it down either. And sometimes, not saying no says everything. Let's just play with the idea for a second. Imagine a starting lineup of LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, DeAndre Ayton, and Jarred Vanderbilt. That's 4 guys who can generate offense in their sleep. With that much firepower, you can afford to have a 5th guy who's there to lock up on defense, crash the boards, and make hustle plays, especially if he's now finishing at the rim and hitting the occasional corner 3. If that group can't make the offense hum, then the problem isn't Vanderbilt, it's the system. Because with those 4, LeBron, Luka, AR, and Ayton, you've got enough playmaking and shot creation to carry an elite offense. And here's the thing. Even if Smart returns and plays well, he's not dramatically better than Vanderbilt as a shooter. His career average from deep is around 32%. Sure, he'll take more threes, and defenders might respect him slightly more, but he's not a floor spacer in the traditional sense either. So, if the team is already willing to consider Smart in that role, why not Vanderbilt? Especially when Vondo brings elite energy, elite on-ball pressure, and can guard multiple positions. The difference in value comes down to what else these guys can give you. Smart offers secondary playmaking and veteran leadership, no doubt. But if he's not healthy, which is a very real concern given the lingering Achilles tendinopathy, that discussion becomes moot. Right now, Vondo is healthy. He's moving well. He's bringing the juice. That matters. And speaking of players making an impact in limited minutes, let's talk about Gabe Vincent. After missing time last season, he finally made his preseason debut and looked sharp. 16 points, 3 threes, 5 assists, and a confidence in his game that we didn't get to see nearly enough of last year. He looked like the version of Gabe Vincent the Lakers were hoping to get when they handed him a multi-year deal. He was active, decisive, and showed off the kind of control and scoring ability that made him so valuable during Miami's finals run. The catch, of course, is that in LA, he won't have the ball in his hands as often. His role here is different. He's going to have to find a way to be effective off the ball. In Miami, his usage hovered around 20% during that legendary playoff stretch. With the Lakers, it's dipped into the low teens. That's a major shift, and it changes what's asked of him. He's got to find rhythm in fewer touches, in more spot-up opportunities, and playing off the gravity of guys like LeBron and Luka. It's not easy, but if he can do it, He gives the Lakers a deadly piece off the bench. Let's not forget, either, that Vincent brings a level of toughness and perimeter defense that this team needs. He might not have the physical tools of a guy like Vanderbilt or the strength of Marcus Smart, but he's quick, he's gritty, and he doesn't back down. The versatility he brings could be crucial in those second units, especially if Smart continues to miss time and Vondo gets elevated into a bigger role. As for DeAndre Ayton, it's still a bit of a mixed bag. Friday's performance was underwhelming. Sunday, better. 7 points, 7 rebounds, a pair of blocks, and a bit more engagement on both ends. He's clearly trying to prove something right now, trying to shift the narrative around his game. And you can feel it. The effort is there. He's not forcing shots. He's playing within the flow. He's even passing up some looks, almost to a fault. There were moments in this game where he had a clear opportunity to score and instead hesitated or deferred. That could be good in theory, especially for a player known for empty stats. But in this context, the Lakers actually need him to be more assertive. They don't want him gunning for 25 a night, but they also don't want him playing scared. The truth is, Ayton doesn't need to dominate to make a difference. He just needs to be reliable, set hard screens, roll with purpose, rebound with force, and be a presence at the rim. The tools are all there. And as he gets more time with Luka and LeBron, the best pick-and-roll partners you could ask for, those opportunities will start coming naturally. If Ayton plays with consistent effort and attention to detail, the fit is going to be there. And if the Lakers can finally unlock the version of him Phoenix could never fully develop, they might just have found their big man of the future. One of the biggest takeaways from this second preseason outing wasn't just about the players themselves. It was about how this coaching staff might be starting to rethink the blueprint. We saw glimpses of how the rotation could take shape, not just based on talent, but on health, chemistry, and who fits where. The truth is, Marcus Smart's absence is opening the door for other guys to prove they can step into that role, or at the very least, force the staff to reconsider what the best version of this team might actually look like. When Smart eventually returns, and let's be honest, with that Achilles issue, there's real concern about how long that's going to take. It's not like he automatically plugs into the starting five, especially not if Jared Vanderbilt keeps doing what he's doing. Smart is the better offensive player, no question. He can handle the ball more, he's a stronger secondary creator, and even if his three-point percentage is modest at best, defenses respect him in a way they don't with Vondo. But that respect only gets you so far when the production isn't that different. And right now, Vanderbilt is bringing more to the table defensively than Smart possibly could, simply because he's actually on the floor. And that brings us to the bigger point, availability. It's cliché, but it's true. The best ability is availability. Vondo is healthy. He's moving well. He's getting in passing lanes, locking up on switches, and crashing the glass hard. In the past, Vanderbilt's offensive limitations were enough to keep him on the fringe of the rotation when everyone was healthy. But if his finishing continues to improve and he shows even a small threat from beyond the arc, that's no longer a reason to keep him off the floor. The interesting wrinkle is how this all affects the starting lineup. Let's assume, for the sake of discussion, that Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, and DeAndre Ayton are locked in. That fifth spot is a wild card. Is it Smart? Is it Vondo? Is it Rui Hachimura, who's more offensively polished but still not offering enough defensively or on the glass? The longer Smart is out, the more momentum Vondo builds, and the more Rui feels like a guy who's going to have to earn his minutes off the bench. If the Lakers go with Vanderbilt in that fifth spot, what you get is a lineup that leans heavily on spacing from LeBron, Luka, and AR, with Ayton handling rim running and rebounding duties. That makes Vondo's role crystal clear: defend the best perimeter threat, switch everything, and keep the energy level sky high. If he hits the occasional three and finishes his cuts with consistency, you've got something special. Maybe not elite offense, but an elite defense that can run in transition and make life miserable for opposing scorers. Of course, there's another name in this mix who deserves more attention: Gabe Vincent. His return might have flown under the radar for some, but within the organization, this game was huge. Not just because he played, but because of how he played. He looked confident, he looked aggressive, and most importantly, he looked healthy. That wasn't always the case last year, when injuries and inconsistent usage kept him from finding any sort of rhythm. But this version of Gabe, the one we saw in Miami's deep playoff run, is a problem for defenses. The challenge, though, is usage. In Miami, Vincent was given the green light. He had the ball in his hands. He ran offense. He dictated pace. In Los Angeles, that's just not going to be the case when you've got Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves sharing the floor. So Vincent is going to have to make the most of fewer touches, which means every possession matters. Every off-ball screen, every spot-up opportunity, every transition chance, it all becomes magnified. What's encouraging is that in this game, he showed he could adjust. He found his shots without dominating the ball. He made quick reads, hit timely threes, and didn't force anything. And this is where the Lakers' depth really starts to show. With Vincent looking sharp, Vanderbilt trending up, and Ayton steadily finding his rhythm, the Lakers are starting to look like a team that could go 10 deep. That's the kind of versatility that helps you weather injuries, rotate through tough matchups, and keep stars fresh through the grind of the regular season. Speaking of Ayton, his performance deserves a closer look. 7 points, 7 boards, and 2 blocks might not jump off the page, but the eye test told a different story. Ayton looked more engaged than he did in the first preseason game. He wasn't passive. He was active in the paint, he contested shots, and he looked like he was trying to do the little things that matter. The kind of stuff that coaches notice. He's still not fully asserting himself as a scoring option, though. A few times he passed up open looks, clearly trying to prove he's more than just a stats guy. That's admirable, but there's a balance. The Lakers don't need him to dominate, but they do need him to be decisive when he's got a mismatch or a clean look. It's all about roles. Ayton doesn't need to be the focal point. He needs to be the finisher, the cleanup man, the guy who punishes switches, controls the boards, and protects the rim. If he stays committed to that, he becomes one of the most valuable pieces on this roster. Not because he's reinvented himself, but because he's finally embracing the version of himself that fits best with this team. And let's be honest, the bar for improvement at the center spot is low. The Lakers didn't get much from that position last year. Even a solid, consistent Ayton is a major upgrade. A locked-in version of him? That could be a game changer. It's also worth mentioning that his chemistry with Luka and LeBron is still a work in progress. That's to be expected. But you could already see flashes of how effective he can be as a screener and roller, especially when paired with high IQ passers. The timing isn't fully there yet, and some of those lobs were a bit off, but once they dial it in, the possibilities are huge. Ayton isn't the kind of center who needs a post-up every other possession. He just needs to be part of the rhythm, and when that happens, he's going to get his looks, especially with so much defensive attention being paid to the Lakers' perimeter stars. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, in a move that could shake up the NBA landscape, whispers around the league suggest that Jalen Brunson, the rising star of the New York Knicks, has reportedly accepted an offer to join the Los Angeles Lakers. While the deal is yet to be officially confirmed, sources close to the situation hint that the 26-year-old guard is ready to bring his dynamic playmaking and scoring ability to Hollywood. Brunson's tenure with the Knicks has been marked by moments of brilliance and leadership. Known for his clutch performances and ability to run an offense with poise beyond his years, he has become a fan favorite at Madison Square Garden. Yet, despite his success in New York, speculation has swirled about his long-term future with the franchise. Now, according to the latest buzz, Brunson may be ready to trade the bright lights of Manhattan for the star-studded roster of Los Angeles. The Lakers, fresh off a season of ups and downs, appear eager to bolster their backcourt with a player of Brunson's caliber. Rumors suggest that the team's management sees him as a perfect fit alongside their veteran stars, someone who can provide both scoring punch and steady leadership. If true, this would mark a significant statement from the Lakers, a declaration that they are serious about returning to championship contention in the coming years. Fans on social media are already buzzing with excitement and speculation. Some argue that Brunson's style could complement the Lakers' existing roster seamlessly, while others caution that the transition may not be as smooth as imagined. Still, The mere idea of a Knicks to Lakers move has generated headlines and endless chatter in NBA circles. While official announcements are still pending, the rumor itself has sparked debate across sports networks and fan forums alike. If Brunson does indeed make the leap to Los Angeles, it could signal a new era for the Lakers and a bold next chapter in the career of one of the league's most underrated guards. For now, the basketball world watches with bated breath, waiting for what could become one of the most talked about moves of the offseason. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video,